Hi, welcome to Books to Boardrooms with Dr. Kiran. Today we have the privilege of having Mr. Rohit. Mr. Rohit is an expert in making leaders across the world. So let's hear it from him, what he does and how he develops leaders across the world. Thanks a lot, Rohit, for coming for this show. Can you just give a little background about who is Rohit?
I'm a global conference speaker, I'm a trainer and a coach, and I focus on leadership communication, specifically through mindfulness. That's what I focus on.
So I think the leadership, I think that's something which I really like to know in detail. Everyone aspires to be a great leader. And so basically talking about leadership, there's a lot of concept or issues saying that, okay, is leaders born or leaders made? So from your experience about coaching and talking a lot and doing a lot of research in the field of leadership, so what do you think is who can be a great leader? Somebody who is born with the leadership qualities or somebody who can develop that by coming to people like you and becoming a great leader?
That's a question which everyone asks, from someone who's senior, junior, everyone. In my view, everyone is a leader. In this room, you're a leader, I'm a leader. The people who are recording this for us, they're all leaders. Why I say that is because there's something which a coin phrase called self-leadership. Everyone is leading themselves in one way or the other. So to me, everyone is a leader. It's how you expand that skill set. There are people who are natural born leaders. They have that talent in them naturally. Now here's the thing, if it's not polished, if it's not taken care of, it's not going to be of any use to themselves or anyone else. So they need to polish it and they need to upskill it, they need to expand it. Now someone who considers themselves not to be a leader, let me tell you, you are a leader because you're leading your life. So that would mean is you would require that extra effort, or you need to do that extra to hone your skills in being that leader, in actually having those great qualities of great leadership.
So that means that leadership involves a lot of quality, as you told. Some people might have it, but they are not polishing it out. So that's what you try to help them to identify those skills and polish so that they can be great leaders. And people who don't have, they can be developed those qualities so that they can still be a good leader going forward.
Absolutely.
So one of the key skill of a leader is a great communication. But you told about communication through mindfulness. Yeah. So can you just give a little background on what do you mean by mindfulness communication?
So what are we doing at the moment? We are communicating. Any moment we are communicating. The moment we wake up, we are communicating. So the first communication we do, or the first presentation which we do, is to ourselves. Every thought, every feeling is a form of communication. Now, mindfulness is actually looking at being present in that moment in terms of your body, your feelings, in terms of your environment. So if I'm having a conversation with you, doing that connection, communicating with you, how am I doing this? Okay? Am I aware of what I'm going to say to you? Am I aware of my body language? Am I aware of my environment? Am I aware of what is required at this moment in time? You are fully aware, or you make this conscious decision that you're going to be aware of how you're going to communicate. How are you going to make that connection? And when I say making that connection, doing that communication, is in terms of peace, harmony, and integrating seamlessly where the other person feels comfortable with you. Because you look at the world across the globe, there are leaders who say things and they cause a lot of anger, frustration. People follow that, and then you've got violence happening all over the place. To me, that is not leadership. To me, that is being toxic, and that's not a good place for a leader to be in. And there are leaders who are amazing at speaking, but what they say creates a lot of toxic situations. So that's not being mindful in the way you communicate.
So it's more about being more having meaningfulness, showing empathy and apathy to the person who you are communicating. As a leader, I think that's something as a follower you need to understand their feelings. So you give a feeling that, yeah, I think he's listening to me, he understands my feelings. So the connection becomes much better between the follower and the leader. So this is something which you train your people who comes to you. So when it comes to you, I mean, everybody got different styles. You know, we teach leadership and we talk about different styles of leadership, autocratic, democratic. You talk about transactional, transformational. Now, every organization demands a different styles of leadership, but some are inborn capabilities or qualities of a leader. So when somebody approaches you and say that, okay, can you train me to be a great leader? So how you identify what sort of style you need to teach them, or is there any style you teach them, or you only talk about the skills you teach them how to be a great leader?
Okay, in terms of style, everyone has these styles in them, and what I would say is which is used in leadership programs is situational leadership. So you have to adapt, be versatile, and be flexible in your leadership style. There are times where you need to be very direct with your leadership style, and there are times where you have to be very consultative in your leadership style, and there are times where you have to be very show that delegation, and then there's times you have to do the coaching side of things. So there's different styles, and a leader needs to learn how to develop these skills. I am not a person who would say I make great leaders. What I make leaders realize, or individuals or teams realize, is that you have the capability of being a great leader. Rest is up to you. The reason why I say that is we all are unique. And we are unique because of the way we have been conditioned from a very young age. Forget about that. Look at our DNA. Everyone's DNA is unique. Doctor, do you have any siblings?
Yes.
Okay, now if they were to look at your DNA and your siblings' DNA, there will be similarities, but there will be certain uniqueness as well. And also, if you look at it, you've got siblings, how you've probably been brought up in a similar way or a same way.
Yes.
But are all your siblings the same?
No.
They're different. So one could be an introvert, one could be an extrovert, one could be a mix and match of things. So everyone is unique, and it all depends on the way we've been conditioned from a very young age that we show certain characteristics. So you have to go down to what they call is your beliefs. What is happening with your beliefs? And this is interesting because neuroscience is working on this quite a lot. And again, neuroscience is in a very young age at the moment. It's very superficial. There's so much research being done. But if you look at ancient cultures, they've already know all of this, but now we're using science to prove it. Yeah. So the way I see it when we look at leadership is you need to be adaptable, you need to be versatile, you have to be flexible depending on the situation. What you are not going to be as a leader is be a tyrant, be toxic, be causing violence and abuse. That is not leadership.
So when we talk about organizational leadership, as you told, that even the same family can have different side of personalities. And then when you look at a multinational organization, you're having people from different parts, and especially a country like UAE, you have 200 different nationalities, and you can have different nationalities as your leaders. Sometimes you see organizations fail just because the change in leadership, the employee is not changing, the organization is not changing, just because the style of leadership. So do you see a major leadership style change between somebody from a West versus somebody from an East? Do you think that is a major differentiation? Or is it just that the adaptability of people to understand the culture which will make it more successful?
Okay. I can't recall this person's name, but this individual, can't remember the name, but it's called the cultural triangle. And this individual did a survey across the globe. He went out and investigated how cultures differ. And he discovered from the far east to the west, in the Middle East, across the globe, everyone has a different way of communicating. There's a slight difference over there. If you go to the east, the far east, people are more of the listening culture. And if the leader says you need to do something, they will do it. Okay? Now, in the West, it's more about questioning the leader. Both styles are great. Both ways of communicating is wonderful. The thing is, you can't be one extreme or the other. You have to merge them. You have to mix them. And now, if you look at the way the world has evolved, we work with different nationalities across the globe. I mean, UAE is one of the biggest examples of that. And so you have to adapt your communication depending on the culture you're from. So if you're from the West and you start forcing your Western views, it's not going to work. If you're going to come from the East and force that, that's not going to work. You have to find a harmonious integration. And when you have that harmonious integration, things do work out. The thing is, it takes time. And most people don't like waiting.
So that leads to another question about, when people are appointed as leaders or managers, they have two challenges. One, the organization asks them to deliver. So at one side, you need to go behind the revenues and the targets. And then when you go behind them, that your management become a little rude or hard, because then you are not listening much to the employees. Then you are not a good leader in that side. So what should a leader do to make sure that you ensure that the organization's targets is done? Same time, you take care of your employees also. So both are happy so that you can succeed in your position. So what sort of advice you will give to these people? How can they do both?
The first question which comes to my mind is, when I look at leadership, is what is a leader? In the business environment, I find it very difficult to label these people as leaders. I would call them more of managers. Although in these organizations, there are individuals who can be defined as leaders. Why? Because they have the human touch. You're dealing with humans. You're dealing with emotions of humans, and not just one, multiple humans. So yes, you've got the revenue, the financial target, but at the same time, who's going to help you achieve that? Humans who have emotions. And therefore, the leader comes in and sees how he can, once again, integrate these things together. And this is where I would say is, which I'm sure you've seen in some of my talks and in some of the work which I do, is a leader needs to have courage to see that and work on that. They need to have that clarity. They need to have the conviction it's possible, and they need to have that compassion, which you were talking about, empathy, kindness. So those elements are crucial. And this is what leadership communication through mindfulness is all about. Having that courage, having that clarity, having that conviction, and having that compassion. And this is an ongoing thing. It's not like, I've got it, it's done. No, it's ongoing. It's ever evolving.
So I think that's really great. I think one last question I'd like to ask is, we have a lot of students who study a leadership program. They're young and they want to be successful leaders. So can you give 3 top tips which can help them to be great leaders in their organization?
Doesn't matter where you're in the world, doesn't matter what organization you're in, one of the first things a leader needs to do is get their hands dirty. And when I say hands they're dirty, they need to go on the ground level and see what your workforce is doing and get involved in that work to a certain extent to understand what is happening. And there are many leaders, I would say most leaders are not doing that. An example which my mother-in-law used to always give me is, in India, when you have a shop or a restaurant, the owner comes and visits and sits for a while and also gets involved in the day-to-day work. Okay, are these leaders doing that? I'm not saying you do it 24/7, but be aware of what these people are doing. So be aware. It's not about just signing documents and talking in front of people. You need to get involved. That's one thing. The other thing is, a leader needs to have that vision. When I say a vision, you need to be aware where you're going to take those people, and have those people, have your people fully aware, why are we having this vision? Okay, what is the reason behind this? more importantly is, how is this vision going to help those people? Okay, so that's thing. So you got to get on the ground level. You got to have that vision, and the third thing which I would say is for any leader is to have trust. Trust in their ability, trust the people they're working with, trust in what they're going to do next. Because if you have no trust, how are those people going to follow you, and how are those people going to do what is required out of them? So get down to the nitty-gritty, you know, as they say, I'll put it in quotes, get down to do the dirty work, okay? This second thing is your vision, and the third thing is trust. Those are the three things which I would say.
Oh, thanks a lot, Rohit. I'm sure this topic will be very interesting for a lot of people, irrespective of the student community, because that my channel is more focused on them. But anybody who is working in any level, I think everybody aspires to be a great leader. I'm sure your thought process and your valuable information will be a great lesson for all of us, and we all try to become more leaders communicating through mindfulness, and we try to get down to the details and develop that trust and create that vision for our employees across the world. And thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you.